It was about the third night of a long camping trip with a few buddies. It was supposed to be a simple spring break getaway for a bunch of high schoolers growing up in a mountain town wanting to get trashed. It had been going great. Marshmallows, open campfire, and enough liquor to supply a small army. But that all changed when Albert told the story of the burnt down church of Redwood Forest. The very forest we had been camping at. They say it was built and used by this cult during the late 1800s. One that believed in some Lovecraftian-like god called Aragreth or something like that. Think he was supposed to be the lord of time and life. Something along those lines. He began as we sat around our small bonfire. They say the church had a large ivory statue of the thing in the center that they'd make sacrifices to. He finished, as he set down yet another drink. Okay, and? Carmen asked, sipping his beer. This supposed to be some sort of ghost story? Teddy chimed in as he roasted a marshmallow. No, man, this was some real stuff, Albert said before a large smirk spread across his face. Word is, the church and the statue are still standing somewhere in the forest. He continued as he slowly sat up. I sighed and looked at him. Let me guess, you want to look for the place? I asked. He nodded vigorously as his smirk grew. Hell yeah, man. Think about it. We find this place, we'd be local legends. Plus, I've heard Ivory sells for quite a pretty penny. He added, looking to the group. We all traded looks amongst each other before looking back at Albert. Alright, why not? We eventually all agreed. After all, it was just an urban legend. Besides, even if it was the real place, the place was abandoned. One built by a bunch of crazy cultists from over 100 years ago at that. It'd probably just be a rundown wood shack with some cross made of twigs on the roof. So after a brief bit of debating, we decided to begin making a hunt for this church. To be honest, we had no idea where we were going. We just started walking in one direction in hopes we'd come across it. And to be fair, this did lead us to a dirt path that looked to be man-made, in which we started walking. It was definitely a strange place to put a pathway, seeing as how we were in the middle of the woods. During about an hour of walking down this path, we were about ready to call it quits and head back to the campsite, until we spotted it. A small shrine at the end of the dirt path we quickly made our way to. No way. I mumbled in complete shock as I stared upon a small, run-down, red-painted church. This place looked like it belonged in Wonderland. Granted, Tim Burton's version. The building seemed warped and uneven, almost like some sort of optical illusion. The place didn't have any windows either. I mean, it did, but no glass in the framing, just black stone slabs. The door was huge and made from stainless steel with intricate engravings of curved lines, and in the center, a giant horned crow. This was real stainless, too. As the door shined in the dark like a glow stick, almost like it's been getting taken care of while the rest of the building was decrepit and left to rot. Well now, let's do this. Albert said as he pulled out a small Swiss Army knife and opened what looked like a lockpick. I'll be honest, the moment I saw this place, I was filled with the greatest sense of alarm I had ever felt in my life. Yet my sense of curiosity slightly outweighed it, enough to ignore the obvious setup to a horror movie that leads to everyone sliced up by some deranged masked killer or something. Breaking into a church? Does that count as a sin? Teddy asked as he leaned over Albert's shoulder to watch him work. Since when have you been religious? Albert responded as he inserted the pick into the key slot, in which the door began opening. Well, guess it wasn't even locked, he said with a satisfied smirk, opening the door all the way. The inside was what you'd expect to see in a normal church, rows of benches lining each side of the building, with an open aisle in the middle leading to a small stage, a preaching podium, and a large statue of some kind. Oh my god. Carmen let out in a burst of excitement as he fished out a flashlight from his pocket to shine it on the statue. The statue was made to resemble a horned crow similar to the one on the door. However, this statue was far more detailed, showing the creature had 7 eyes, 3 of each side of its face, and one resting on its open beak. The center of each eye had small red jewels embedded into them to give the effect of pupils. It also donned 4 wings that looked like feathered bat wings, and rather than the bottom half of a bird like a tail or talons, it had the lower body of a serpent. Deep carvings filled with what looked like emeralds to give the effect of scales. The horns were curled like a ram made of solid gold, and just like Albert had said, the whole thing seemed to be carved from smooth ivory. "Cody, man, we're gonna be rich," Albert roared as he bumped my shoulder. I'll admit the idea was extremely tempting. We were looking at what looked to be at least 200 pounds of pure ivory, along with a small trove of jewels, all too easy for the taking. But my better half got the best of me. "Yeah, where are we gonna put it? Besides, looting from a church just seems low. Are you really that desperate?" I asked, trying to tame my greed. However, Albert was quick to be the devil on my shoulder. "Come on, dude. Look at the thing. Even a chunk of that will set us up for years. We each take a quarter of this thing and sell it off. That's 50 pounds of pure ivory at least." He continued to pry. "You can take one of the horns. Solid golden, my good friend." Right as I was about to give in, Teddy said something that gave me chills. "Why is it so clean?" he asked as he closely inspected the thing. We all looked at him for a moment, then to the statue. "What do you mean?" Carmen asked as he walked closer to inspect it. "Well, look at this place. It's a complete mess. Yet this statue doesn't have a speck of dust on it. Hell, it looks like it's been polished too." Teddy continued as he extended his arm towards the rest of the room. That led me to think of something else. "The door is spotless too. You think this place is still in use?" I asked. The other 3 traded looks before Albert broke the silence. "Well then, let's get this thing out if you're quick then," he said, quickly grabbing onto one of the statue's horn, only for his hand to get fried to a crisp. He reeled his hand back in pain as the smell of burnt flesh. Albert's palm looked like he'd just put his hand in a high blast furnace oven. But we could barely focus on it for long once Carmen started yelling. "It's looking at us," he cried out as he stumbled onto his ass. I turned my head to the statue to see the eye in its beak had completely turned to face us. Then the other 6. Then they blinked, before the sound of cracking of ivory could be heard as the creature broke from its shell. The ivory shedded as if it was a second skin, slowly peeling off the beast as it extended its wings. It turned its head to us before swallowing its eye, soon after reappearing on the creature's forehead. As it looked towards me, with unnatural speed the beast slithered up to me, meeting me face to face. I should have probably screamed, or fought back, or run. Anything, but I was absolutely paralyzed in fear. The thing studied me as I trembled softly, trying not to look into the eyes. It looked like it was going to go for the kill when suddenly Carmen yelled out again in fear. "What is that thing?" He yelled out. It quickly locked his attention to him before shrieking out in a high-pitched, gargly cry and launching itself towards him. He tried to get up and run, but the thing was too fast, quickly wrapping itself around Carmen's body. The monster slowly began to squeeze, before piercing its long beak through his chest. It looked like it was drinking his blood, like a mosquito as it slowly drained Carmen of all bodily fluids. It almost looked like he was shriveling up, as if the thing was drinking him like a juice box. Teddy tried to charge the thing, but it was obvious he wouldn't be able to do anything, as the beast quickly swatted him away with its massive wings. It sent him flying through the room, smashing through 2 of the benches and breaking his leg. I was expecting the creature to slaughter all of us, but it just stared over the remaining 3. It slowly extended its wings and took off through the large metal door. I ended up collapsing and blacking out due to fear and confusion. I think my mind just couldn't process what it had seen, causing my body to shut down just attempting to. I remember waking up at the campsite by the fire. At first, I felt a huge wave of relief as I quickly shot up and saw we were out. Relief that was quickly taken from Albert's words. "Wasn't a dream, man." I heard from the other side of the fire to see him clutching his hand and staring deep into the fire. "Teddy's in his tent, his legs completely screwed. The thing took Carmen," he continued as he slowly paid down. We ended up explaining it away as a camping trip gone wrong. Carmen went missing in the middle of the night. Teddy broke his leg on our search for him, and Albert burnt his hand while grilling. I mean, what were we gonna say? Anything even close to the truth would get us all locked away in a loony bin. So we tried to come up with something as believable as possible. After giving our stories, we brought Teddy to the hospital and Albert to get treated for his hand. It's been about 6 years since then. I don't go camping anymore. I haven't even lived near any woodland areas since. I still talk to Teddy every now and then, but Albert, he went missing about 2 years after. He said he was going to try to find the place again. I'm guessing he did. The thing still gives me nightmares. Every night I see the thing's eyes looking deep through me before lurching its spear-like beak into my chest. I don't know why it didn't kill the rest of us. I have absolutely no clue why Albert would go back to that place. And I have absolutely no clue why I'm so tempted to do so myself.